You think I enjoy watching my son become some closet pony's little bitch?
Hey, Samore Love Bugs, you have now tuned in to my Empire recap. Guys, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Also, be sure to share this video wherever you like to share videos, and check out my other channel, Samore Love TV, because that's where I have my love and hip hop and all those other tutorials and all kind of shows that I do like almost daily, like not shows, but tutorials and hair reviews and things like that I do almost daily. And then always Tuesday morning is when you're going to see your love and hip hop reviews. So let's go ahead and give some shout outs from last week. Let me just get into this. All right. Okay, so the last Empire recap. So shout out to Aubrey Mack. And also shout out to Caught Up Davis. And lastly, shout out to Jasmine Robinson, who said, "Hey Samore, Empire is starting to get better as shown this past episode. Lucious' mother is truly a lunatic. Now that Rhonda quietly knows that Anika pushed her, I wonder how she's going to confront Anika. Also, I'm not sure if Lauren Hakeem will last. Have a wonderful day." You too, sweetie. So yes, she definitely was seeing a lot of things that happened and saying a lot of things that happened in this particular episode. So it was just so crazy. We're gonna just get right into it. So we start off with, well, it was a little after the beginning. I didn't talk about the beginning, but Lucious, his song is being promoted on a commercial on air on TV, and his mom, she's there watching the TV, and she notices that the music video is showing her and her killing herself and all these other things and putting him in the water, and she just looked like she was getting so vexed, like she was so pissed off about it. And I'm like, yo, these are probably triggers for her. Like, she's getting madder and madder, and she's probably gonna end up doing something crazy. Jamal, he's working with Frieda, and that dude from last week got, what was his name, D Major, aka Derek. He's there and he's just giving him the googly eyes, just looking at him like he was a piece of filet mignon that he was ready to tear up, honey. And they're like just doing their thing, vibing, singing. And then when Frieda leaves, he tells him that he should let go of his mom and let him be his producer and just get away from his family. He needs to be like a separate entity and just stop letting them hold him back. And I'm looking at him like, nah, bruh. Like, if anything, don't pick this dude, because the way he treats you is like you're garbage. Whenever he sees you you're in the public eye, it's like, yo, what you doing, man? Like, it's mad thug life, like rude, and like he's about to fight him or something, and like he hates him, and then like behind closed doors he wanna come rubbing up and touching him and stuff. Nah, that's not a healthy, that's not a cool relationship. That's like a mental mind F. And I don't think that that's something that he needs to be a part of, especially not mixing business with pleasure as well, because that never ends up good. I mean, once in a while it does, but when it starts out like this, I don't see it going anywhere but downhill. Mama Lyon, she's talking to Andre and trying to get into his head. She's saying that she wants to go to the ASIS Awards, or ASIS. Talking about some ASIS Awards. And she says that she just wants to see her grandbabies perform. And is it that Lucious doesn't want her there? And Andre's trying to keep her calm and just tell her, no, that's not it. You would have to get an outfit, and I have to clear it with him and see if we can get you another ticket. Like, he was making every excuse in the book. Like, you know, he could pull some strings and make sure he makes things happen, as long as Lucious is okay with it, which he already knew that it wouldn't be a good idea, for the simple fact that she's not even supposed to be alive in the first place. And he's like, you know, that would probably mess things up if it were to come out that you were not dead and he was lying all the time. Like, that could mess up the reputation, the brand, everything. And she's just like, there's gonna be so many pretty women over there, they're not gonna be looking at me. And I'm like, she get into your head. That's how the freaking family be doing, especially the older ones. And you know, he has a special connection to her, so she knows exactly who she could try to manipulate. Rhonda, she's starting to separate herself from Anika. Anika thinks that maybe, perhaps, it's just because she's starting to show. And Rhonda's feeling some type of way about that. But we all know from the last episode that she's seen them shoes, them red bottom shoes, and she's starting to figure it out. Because after a while, and that can happen sometimes, excuse me, after a while when you've been through some type of trauma, it starts coming back to you in bits and pieces, especially when you've had like amnesia. I've seen this like in tons of different scenarios, and I've heard about it when I used to be in nursing school back in the days. Like things like this actually do happen in the real life or real world. Laura, she's starting to think about the fame. She wants to excel in her career, and she tells what's his name? She tells Hakeem that perhaps they should have this, I think People's Magazine or some magazine, cover their wedding. And he's like, you know, this is not gonna really elevate your career or anything by that happening. And she's like, oh, well, now you're starting to not believe in me anymore. And as the young lady just said, I think that the rift between them and their careers is probably going to cause their downfall, because as we've seen later on, there were other little things that happened that it just looks like he felt some type of way about it, because it's like he got to push her to the side and it's all about him. But most likely if he's with the other girl, Tiana, she's big time too right now, especially if they do that song together. They both going to rise to the top. So it's like, she might just try to wiggle her way in, especially knowing that he's going to end up being vulnerable, you know, and feeling some type of way, because he's going to be the one that's always in the spotlight and have to kind of leave her to the side sometimes. So, yeah, and she just kind of, when he kind of admits that he doesn't really believe in her right now, but he didn't say it in those words. He's just like, listen, right now, it's just not going to happen, and I don't want you to blame me or anything like that. And I just feel like she kind of agreed and said yes just to play the part for right now. But I feel like she too has some kind of like ulterior motive. I don't know what it really is. I don't know. I just feel like she's starting to change and become more focused on other things than just, you know, oh, I just want to be with you forever and I don't care about anything type of thing, you know? Cookie goes to have a little sit down with this Tyreek dude, and this Tyreek dude is the FBI agent that we seen in the last episode that was hanging out with her sister Carol. And they just kind of have a sit down. Let me tell you, baby, the slayage was super duper real. I mean, it was. It was official. Did you see her little fur collar thing she had going on? Yes. Did you see her makeup, her hair? Cookie was on point. And she had the little gloves with the claws. I was like, I need those in my life for the winter. I need that. I have to find something similar or make my own, because those were just too damn hot. Anyways, back to the focus at hand, which is the recap. So she's there talking to Tyreek, and they're just going back and forth, and he reveals that he knows that Lucious killed Bunky, and she was like, you know, like, what? And they kind of like cut the conversation short. Plus she ended up saying that her sister got, I think she said her sister got herpes or something like that, to kind of just tell him to get away from her sister, because she knows that he's trying to get into her sister's head, her sister's heart, because she's easier to manipulate. She's vulnerable right now, so she's trying to shut that down real quick, because you never know what somebody who used to be using, you know, what they might say. And she's kind of falling off the wagon. As we saw last week, she was drinking at the bar. Carol and Cookie have a little chat after this, and it just goes really bad, because Carol, she seems to be jealous of Cookie. She feels like she should have what Cookie has. I guess her and Lucious used to be together, but perhaps she stole him or something like that. And they were just really hurting each other with words. Cookie said something along the lines of, like, why would he want to be with you? Like, you thought he would be with you if he wasn't with me? Like, come on. And then Carol ends up saying, well, that's why Candace said that you don't care about me. She was right. And that just kind of like, boom! You know, that was kind of the thing that just kind of set Cookie off real quick because she's like, I don't care about you. I don't care about you. Like, she has this woman up in her house supporting her, like taking care of her pretty much. She's a grown woman. It's not like she's a little kid or anything like that. And she has her own kids to take care of, and Cookie has all her things that she got going on, but she still managed to make sure her sister's with her to kind of just keep her together. And she won't tell her something like that, so she just kind of like blew up. And she was like, you know what, well, just get out of here. You're not going to the ASIS Awards because I'm not going to take no washed out crackhead to the ASIS Awards. And, you know, that probably really hurt her as well. You know, kind of like cut her to the core real quick. I tell you, the war of words can get real ugly, real nasty. And at the end of the day, you can't take it back. So that's why a lot of times when people say certain things, like if I've had an argument, people say certain things, I kind of like don't really look at them the same way after that. I try to like, you know, let bygones be bygones. We could probably even talk. We could sit down after that. But at the end of the day, I kind of remember what you said in the back of my head. And it always tells me, you know, watch yourself because this person doesn't have your best interests in mind. I mean, of course, depending on what they said and what I said as well, because, you know, sometimes I could go in. Lucious, he walks into the studio when D Major was listening to some music that Jamal was playing. They were like in the studio doing it, and then they was flirting, getting close, looked like they was about to kiss, and Lucious walks in. So D Major's like, yo, what are you doing? Don't get close to me like that. On some crazy, like, about to punch him in his face, like your low life type of talk. You know, that kind of tone of voice. Real gangster swag. And then he like just walks out. And it's crazy because his father already knew. He's like, I already know. And a lot of people know, like, his name is through the streets. People know what he does to young, rich, I think he said young, rich guys. And he just makes them his beat. Like, that's pretty much his MO. And that's exactly what he was about to do to Jamal if perhaps Jamal didn't have this conversation with his father. Even though his father's delivery was poor and it ended up getting into a sword match of words, it's what he needed to hear, and it most likely will push him to leave this guy alone and just know that he's worth more than this. So they have, they're going back and forth, and he says that he's forcing him to watch him live this life, and then he says that he's crying like a little baby, and he knows better than that. He's not supposed to crap where he eats, and you know, everything. And then Jamal was just, he got gangster with it, you know, and he didn't care about his father's approval or anything else at that moment. He just was like, well, look at you. You're acting like a little bee, crying all the time over your mother putting a little water on you. And it just started to get real personal. And the last thing that happened was, I think after that point, Lucious kind of choked him up real quick and was about to like really like just like punch him like he was like some dude out in the street. But he caught himself and he ended up punching him in the mouth with some words and said, when you die from AIDS, I'm going to celebrate your death. And for your father, your family to say something like that, that's probably one of the worst things imaginable. So after that, he just walked out and it was just like, you know what, I'm done. That was the kind of mentality that he had as he walked out of there. When Jamal tries to talk to Cookie, she says that he needs to let Frieda go. And he's like, what does that have anything to do with what I'm talking to you about? Because he was trying to tell her about the whole Lucious falling out that he just had and the things that Lucious said to him. And she's just like, you need to let her go. And he's like, why? She's great. And then she just reveals, like, I snitched on her father. Then her father put a hit out on me. And, I mean, I don't think, did she say the father put a hit on her? But, I mean, that's basically what happened. And then Lucious did what he had to do and got her father killed. And she's like, the apple don't fall too far from the tree. So you gotta, for the sake of your family, you need to let her go. But I'm like, don't you think That's going to raise a little bit of suspicion. If all of a sudden you let her go, it's going to be like, but why? Plus, he already burnt her, figuratively speaking. He already burnt her before, where he got her all gassed up, then took her off the song, then put her back on the song. And now she feeling like she big time, and you about to say what? We can't work with you anymore? Like, that could cause people to get crazy, like lose their minds real quick. I know I'd probably spit on somebody. They just dead to me. Like that's low of the low. Like that's just playing with somebody's mind, playing with their emotions, playing with their heart. And come on, like at the end of the day, you could have just left her doing her little thing, making her cuts in the barbershop. Time for the ASIS Awards, and Lucious, he buys Cookie this beautiful diamond bracelet that's worth more than a Lamborghini. And he's just saying the right things at the right moment. And following that, he was kind of like flirting with her and says that he knew that they would get to that point, but he just didn't realize that it would take this long. A lot of times we can create and make our futures through, just kind of manifesting what we want, and just we see it, we know what we want to get, but it just takes a while to actually achieve what it is that we expect to get or we want to get. So I think that that's exactly what he kind of was talking about when he said that. And they were just reminiscing about the good old days and him looking at her booty and things like that. So they looked like they was in a good space, and just they walked in together. She was pretty much his date because I guess her date stood her up. Andre, he was taking grandma to the ASIS Awards, but he got shut down. Okay, thirsty. The lawyer came with 2 goons and was like, come on, Granny, we going back inside. They took him and put him in the panic room, locked them up like they was some good old assets, good old money or something, loot. And that was the end of that. But he didn't leave them high and dry. He did leave them with a TV so they could see everything that was going down. So they could feel like they was there. They was in like the sky room or something, nice and exclusive, not with nobody else around them. During the ASIS, I keep on saying ISIS. During the ASIS Awards, bombs was going off. ASIS and bombs, right? That would be what I would say. They were just like popping off left and right. Laura, she realizes that she's not as famous as her fiance. This was like a realization for her because they was taking pictures together, paparazzis. Yes, yes, yes. Then all of a sudden they're like, okay, can we get some with just him by himself? And she moves over. Well, can you move over a little bit more? You're in the way. We don't want to see you at all. We don't want to have to crop you out, Photoshop you out. Just move, girl. You're nobody. That's pretty much what they were saying without saying those actual words. He looked like he was a little distraught at the moment, but he had to pose and pretend for the camera. But it did look like it kind of like hit him in the head, like, dang, homie, this is real. Like, they don't really care about my girl. Then Jamal, he was making it hot by telling Frieda that that he wants her to get away from the Empire label. Both of them are gonna get away. And she's like, but why? Like, I'm good right now. I'm happy. And he's just like, trust me. You want to get away from those people. And I'm like, oh my God, she's about to slip up and tell her what's going down. I know you mad right now at your papa. He even tells the press that this is the last thing he gonna do with them because he's about to shelve his stuff and go solo, and he not gonna mess with them, deal with them anymore. I'm like, this guy's talking a little bit too much. He just letting everything go because he tight. When you mad, you ain't you don't always think clearly, and that's the problem. Lucious, he has a little conference. They were kind of like interviewing him real quick on the sidelines, and he gives this great speech about how he lost his mother to bipolar disorder. And I'm like, okay, he's choosing his words wisely. He's not saying actually passed away, so he can pass with this. He's not really lying. But then he says that she died, she passed away, and this is in memory of her. I'm like, here we go. And then she's watching on the other flip side in the little panic room with Andre, and she's just like, he's such a liar. Like, she's getting mad because she's watching him, like, literally lie. Like, how you tell us saying that somebody's dead and they're right there watching you. So, yeah. Following that, Carol, she comes in drunk as ever, honey, and she's just slurring her speech. She's like, Cookie! You know, she running up with her little scantily little dress on, and when she's leaving, because Cookie just kind of was like, yo, you better get out of here. She kind of like dragged her, like, yo, I will drag you through this place. And she was leaving. She saw Frieda, and she's like, come on, Frieda, let's go. Like, she wanted Frieda to leave with her. But Frieda's just like, I got press to do. I'm not done yet. I can't leave. And she was like, what? You think you're better than me? The only reason why you even here is because Lucious feels bad for what he did to your father. Honey, those were the wrong words to say. Because all of a sudden, she's just like contemplating the words, running them back, rewind, fast forward, replay. Feels bad for what he did. Think about it, girl. She was thinking. Ha ha, Frieda. You ain't better than me, Frieda. And she just was like, everything. She started thinking about every little moment, everything that went down from beginning to where she seen him in the jail to the end. And it all came together. She didn't even need nobody to confirm it. She just knew right then and there. She started running up on him. Running up. She saw Lucious straight ahead. She started running up. Seen a security guard, grabbed his gun real quick, ran up, took out the gun, and just was like ready. But Jamal was peeping her on the side of his eye. He seen her running up, so he knew something was going down. So he tried to, I don't know if he thought he was the human shield, or if he thought that he had a life jacket on, or what are them called, bulletproof vest on. Like, Jamal, what were you doing? He dead goes in front of the bullets, like he was Superman. And of course, he gets shot and falls to the floor. Like, at first I thought it was actually Lucious because he had fell too, but he didn't get shot. It was actually Jamal. So they had to rush him to the hospital. She got taken away, and it's just not a good situation right now. They also, the Fed guy, because he sees all this going down, he ends up getting Anika, and I guess he wants her to cooperate or something. And I'm like, they better not do nothing to this girl, because we all know that she ready, willing, and able to cooperate if necessary. So, I don't know. Following that, when they're all in the hospital and everything, it's crazy because you could just be fighting with somebody that you love 1 minute, and then the next minute they could be gone, about to be gone, like whatever. And that's exactly what was going down. Luckily, Thirsty, because he had to rush to the hospital, he allowed the mother and Andre to get out and go to the hospital as well and be with the family. So while everybody's talking, Lucious and Cookie mainly, they would just like focus on what they were saying, and the fact that they didn't even win the darn award that they was going so hard for, and that was ripping their family apart. She just like walks out. She totally like just leaves, and outside is a whole ton load of paparazzis just taking pictures, and they're like, but who are you, miss? Are you part of the family? Who are you? Let us know. Because they most likely had shut down the hospital or whatever. Maybe they had like certain people that could come in and out. I don't know. But when it's high profile people, they start doing things a little bit different. So it's like, who is she that she was inside there and she's coming out right now? So it's just like quiet city right now. So we don't even know what's going to go down. I'm like, is she going to say I'm Lucious' mother? I don't think she did say anything. I think it was just like, they put it to commercial, and that was pretty much the end of it. So we gonna see what happens next week. It looks like it's gonna be crazy. I think, is next week the finale? It might be the finale, but it looks like it's gonna be a lot. Like, they showed Anika look like she about to kill off herself, and Rhonda reveals that she knows that Anika did it. So I'm hoping that everybody believes her and they don't just like try to say, why are you saying that? You know how people sometimes they're like, oh, go lay down, you're hallucinating, whatever. You know, just like how she kind of tried to push Andre's feelings to the side when he was kind of telling her that he was having these dreams. And yeah, it's about to be some craziness now. I'm looking forward to it though. I'm definitely looking forward to it. So make sure you guys join me next week for, I think, what it will be the season finale or whatever. Just join me for the next episode, okay? Thanks for watching. Be sure to stay fabulous, live free, and soar limitless. I'll see you in the next one. Later.